Hey guys, it's Access Denied here, with another episode of Developing a YGO Sim. So we're actually going to be looking at uh, automatic mode. So it's it's a doozy. It's going to be a doozy. Like I said, I'm putting out a year for development. So around I'd say maybe February, March of next year, is when we're going to have like a good solid game going. I don't think it's going to have all the cards at that time, but at minimum, it's going to have enough to be like, this is what we have. It's developing nicely. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up of like the core engine. So um, I probably should go back a little bit and explain the base mode. Actually, I guess I should start with explaining manual mode. So manual mode's actually largely based off of the user interface controller for automatic in browser that I've shown off. I took the code and I put it on the server, so it's managing state, and then I just added direct manual controls for state, um, which it's pretty simple. So we just pass in um, player one, player two's deck, shuffle the decks, and then we use this make card constructor. So this actually creates the individual cards, and I'll show you that real quick. As you can see, it's really just an object here with a bit of information on it. It's just reflected onto it. Uh, and it just creates all the cards that we're going to send off. If they're in manual mode, I tell them how to use it, and then I just shoot the state at the user, and from there they get the state, and the state is it's really just a copy of the stack, which is split up so they can more easily look at it. And it's really just the whole entire state reflected back down to them. There's not much to it. So that takes us back to automatic. What I'm going to do for automatic is action queue, a rather complex queuing system that allows for some async operations. So when they start up the game, there's a queue for each phase. So I haven't put in how I'm going to do the actual scripts, but just what I want to do right now is just basic game mechanics of just like going through the individual turns, and I've gotten about halfway through it. So the first thing I do is I put on the queue that I need to change the life points. I put on the queue that I need to set the starting player, and then I need to have like, oh, excuse me, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so I'm gonna run this function here, which sets up the turns, and I'm gonna push on it. You need to do draw, you need to do the standby phase, you need to do the main phase 1. So when they start out the draw phase, I need to get the basic meta information and set the phase to draw. Now that should later on cause all the effects that are at the start of draw phase to trigger, and then you're gonna do a process queue on anything from the draw phase that has been put onto the queue. So like let's say you drew um let's say that you're going to draw a card, but you have Astral Force in the graveyard, and it sets up to say, hey, do you actually want to draw a card, yes or no? And if you said yes, then it sets skip this, and you can just like kind of like just go on to the next thing. I actually need to put that case in here. How about that? Now no, under normal circumstances, you just go on to the next thing that you're going to do, which is fine. So as you can see, I got a lot of work to do, but like the base skeletal is here. So the next thing it does is sends you to the standby phase. So we got the standby phase here. This standby phase is just gonna really just process its own queue, just in case there's anything in there. And it's gonna the queue is gonna shift up to the next thing, which is the main phase one. Main phase one, of course, is gonna grab that meta information, set the phase, which is gonna trigger up a bunch of things that need to be put on at the start of main phase one, and then it's gonna run this ask user function. Now, what the ask user function is going to go into the duel and it's going to run a bunch of queries and get back the options that you have, like what are the cards that you can normal summon, what are the cards that you can special summon, what are the cards that can go to defense, what are the cards that can be activated as a spell or trap, what are the cards that can be set as a monster, and so on and so on. And this is just reflecting what's already in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro. So it's then going to send the question. The question label is going to be main phase one. It's going to send down all this information and wait for a response. When it gets a response, it's going to run it over this case statement, which is going to do a bunch of stuff. And under most cases, it's just going to ask the user their next thing. But under some cases, it's going to send them to the next phases. And that's why I stopped for the night, because I was getting tired. Now, there's this really complex process queue function, which I'm using async waterfall with a map closure. So we got the return function. It creates these functions, which runs the individual things that are on the queue and applies basically an order of operations and flow control. This is actually kind of hard to do. As you can see, it's rather nested, and that's not my usual style, as you all know. And it's just like a series of callback functionality. But overall, things are looking good. I can basically just like start the game, draw a card, and then get back like a list of shit that I'm supposed to do. Theoretically, because this is technically pseudocode, working pseudo. Like I'm not gonna say like working, but like the syntax is correct. If everything that it was referring to was built already, then I think it would work. With a few bugs that just from laziness, because I'm trying to like get the best case scenario going. Then it's kind of going to like sit you at main phase one. So I'm going to go do the rest of the phases and catch you guys in a couple of days. Um, we've been working on like database compression and a few features within Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro.us itself. I'll show you what we've been working on. So if you change over to the very first ban list, it's going to now supposedly sort on it. Maybe I need to put something in. There we go. There's all the cyber monsters. Go back to goat format error. There we go. Yep. All the cards that existed during that error without changing the database. And what we hope to do is to kind of get it down to be able to kind of work around Yep, there we go. It started working now. I guess it needs a little bit of extra. But yeah, that's what we've been working on. This has been access denied, connection terminated.